Yeah, boy. Yo, what's up? Welcome to another build guide. So maybe if you haven't seen, I actually had some computer problems and I ended up replacing my power supply unit. So right now it seems fine, but if something happens, I will let you guys know in my Discord, and I may need to buy something else. I don't know, maybe my motherboard is damaged. If you are a computer expert, maybe please contact me in my Discord. I will just explain what's going on detailed. But right now it is fine for 2 days, let's say. That's why I haven't uploaded anything last week, let's say. And finally I uploaded that armor stack build. I actually have like 5 builds, but I need to edit them. This was one of them actually, so I will probably edit and upload these slowly these days before the new league starts. So please subscribe if you are new to the channel, and if you are feeling generous, you can also check my Patreon packages. So what is this build, how I ended up finding this build, let's say. So first of all, I just checked the, what is that, patch notes again, and I was like, okay, they buffed some of the Maven items. We already know that the boots are being used by Rush's Fire builds, I believe. And I was like, okay, I will just check this body armor, doppelganger guys, or I believe that is how it's pronounced, but maybe I'm wrong. So I actually haven't played anything with this chest ever. So I was like, okay, I'm just reading it, 50% more crit strike chance while insane, that is good crit. Enemies killed by your hits are destroyed, that is actually an explode, but that doesn't hit anything. So I was like, okay, maybe I can do a crit build with this, I don't know. And I was like, okay, let's just read the next. So this chest piece actually has a button on your skill bar. If you press it, you become sane and insane, it just switches stances, let's say. If you are sane, you get you take less, alright, physical and chaos damage taken. It also doesn't say hits, so that is actually huge. If it said hits, it doesn't work for damage over time actually. This doesn't say anything, so it actually works for everything. So less damage taken, that is very nice. Also regenerate 10% life over 1 second when hit. So this one says hit obviously, but you obviously get hit all the time. So a lot of regeneration. I was like, okay, why do I need to be tanked? I was just thinking, chatting with a couple of friends, and we all said at the same time, how about Boneshatter? So Boneshatter is a skill that I tried once they first added it, and I am probably the first person who actually made a viable build with that. Maybe I will just also leave that guide down below. That is actually, let's say, a more viable build, but this actually can do Simulacrum, this version. The previous version is mostly for mapping and boss killing, and that's actually a faster build because this build actually needs to stack lots of stacks. So I will just check Boneshatter right now. So let's just explain Boneshatter and why I am using this chest on this version. So Boneshatter is a skill, a melee skill that actually hurts the user, and you actually get trauma stacks whenever you hit the target. So the faster the attack speed, the more DPS obviously you will get, and the more stacks, the attack speed and trauma stacks are the source of DPS. Because this build needs good attack speed and also needs to stack trauma stacks, let's say, we want to use Divergent Boneshatter. Right now this doesn't worth anything, it is super cheap, the league is almost ending, maybe you are not gonna even play this right now. You should probably play this build for Simulacrum farming at early league, maybe next league 3.18 or something. This is probably a low budget Simulacrum farmer, that should be the purpose. You can also still kill, fear, those kind of hard bosses. So you should mainly play this build for those purposes. Do not map or farm Maven, those kind of bosses, because if a boss has phases all the time like Maven, she just disappears, does some memory game, those kind of stuff, you just lose your charges, stacks. You need to attack all the time, constantly, so you can actually build those stacks. The boss shouldn't go anywhere. So something like Cirrus also is a waste of time, let's say, alright? You should do Simulacrum, maybe Feared, Carry, those kind of stuff with this build, alright? So Divergent Boneshatter. So funny thing is, you need to actually lock this skill at 7 levels and 14 quality. That is how I played with an Ashes of the Stars with 30 quality. So the quality in the end needs to be 46%, 30, 14, what? How is that? 46%. Yeah, I also have Enhance. Yeah, I am stupid. So with Enhance, Boneshatter with 14 quality. Enhance is only level 3, by the way, not even 4. If you have 4 Enhance, just sell it. You don't need it, alright? with a 30 quality Ashes of Stars. So in the end you need 46 quality. If I am wrong, just check Path of Building, you will understand. If you go for above, actually you won't get any DPS, but you start to get more damage taken. So you actually hit yourself more, let's say. So you need to actually lock your what's that, Boneshatter at 14 quality. And let's just also mention this. My Ashes of Stars was actually 30 quality, alright? That is the maximum roll. You can actually maybe use, let's say, a 25 quality Ashes of Stars. So that makes that you need another 5%. So you should use 19% quality Boneshatter. So you can also do that. But in the end, the quality needs to be 46, I believe. That is how I see in my Path of Building. So make sure you do that, alright? Also, the gem level needs to be 8. Ashes of Star also provides +1, so you actually need to calculate that. So actually my Boneshatter is level 7. So 7 level, 14 quality with that Ashes of Star, alright? You get the idea. So if you just invest into more gem level or quality, again, I'm telling you, you actually take more damage. Because each trauma stack actually hits the user. So to mitigate this, you need to have good physical mitigation. So the body armor actually helps a lot with that stuff, because it has 40% less physical damage taken, and also chaos. So chaos is also important. I'm gonna explain that later on. I will just explain how this build works quickly, but after finishing all the equipment, those kind of stuff, you know, finishing the guide almost, let's say, I will also explain the rotation, the gems again, alright? That is gonna be maybe detailed. So that's why you should definitely watch that part if you don't understand what's going on. So Boneshatter, you need high stacks, obviously. This is actually a buff, you know, that has a duration on you. That is why you can also use Mantra of Flames Jewel. Because per buff grants you attack damage, fire attack damage. This is actually also written in Gamepedia. Maybe you already know this. This is not a new information actually. So actually higher buffs means more fire damage. So that is how to deal damage, alright? This jewel is a must. So if you want to have higher stacks, let's say, you need to increase the duration of the stacks. So that's why on our Boneshatter setup we use Enhance. But actually Enhance works for attack speed. So yeah, Divergent 1 because provides attack speed, yeah. Increase duration, support, that is important. And I also invested into duration nodes on the talent tree. Also a duration mastery that provides 10% more skill effect duration. So higher duration also helps. Other stuff, Rot Blood Promise Ring. Where is that? Socketed gems are supported by level 20 Blasphemy. Blasphemy is a gem that actually converts a curse, you know, a hex, let's say, to an aura. So whenever you are near monsters, they can actually get that hex automatically. But if you use this ring, if you put temporal chains into this ring and activate that blasphemy, you actually also curse yourself, you know, hex yourself. So this means that we have temporal chain all the time on us. Temporal chain is a debuff that slows your character, but because it's a Juggernaut, you cannot actually be slowed below base speed. That means that you cannot actually also get frozen. Most people still do not know this. So unstoppable, notable, this is super important. This is a Juggernaut, notable, alright? Also debuffs on you lasts longer. Buffs, debuffs, those kind of stuff. That is why also Boneshatter stacks last longer. Also Enduring Cry buff, those kind of stuff. Immortal Call buff. These are all the things that we are using in this build. So in the end, we have higher buff uptime, so you can actually stack more charges. Divergent Boneshatter again provides more attack speed, increased attack speed per trauma. So let's say if I have 400 stacks, I have 400 increased attack speed. Ridiculous. So faster attacks after some point. And this is how to do that. Also, where's that? I'm stacking Born of Chaos Jewels to have some maximum chaos resistances, combined with Divine Flesh, Glorious Vanity Jewel, so I can actually get elemental damage taken as chaos damage, which is also gets more mitigated with Doppelganger Guy's body armor. So this is where the big mitigation comes from. So yeah, this was a little summary about all the defenses, how this build works, let's say. But again, a little bit more detail is actually later on. So just check the timestamps if you need more clarification maybe. So this is a Juggernaut. Have lots of endurance charges. You need to use endurance charge, rings, boots, those kind of stuff. So let's check those items. I will just explain everything, at the same time, and that is how this build guide is gonna be. I'm not gonna even take a look at the maybe path of building. All right. So boots, let's say endurance charges. So this can happen on corrupted boots. This was super cheap. Bought it for 30 chaos because it was a corrupted boot. Don't even have movement speed, which you don't even need on this build. But obviously movement speed helps, so maybe you can get that. There is also synthesized boots with +1 endurance charges. You can also buy any of those. They are gonna be obviously not crafted, so use some essences maybe. There is also endurance charge on Warlord Influence. So these are all boots options. Just get anything you want. Corrupt one is obviously the cheaper option, but it is hard to color. My boots also doesn't have any enchant. So +1 endurance, life, resistances, and this build needs a little dexterity, so try to put those on your items, alright? So you don't actually need much DPS stat on your items. You just keep your resistances. You also need to keep your chaos resist, by the way. All of my resistances are kept. So yeah, next piece, you can also get endurance charges on rings. They can also be synthesized implicits on rare rings. They are actually like 2-3 exiled. I also made an immortal Juggernaut build a couple of weeks ago. Maybe they are more expensive right now if people played that, I don't know. But yeah, you can get synthesized rings with endurance charges or precursor emblem rings. These are actually harder to find, the good ones, let's say. If you just type +1 endurance charges, they are like 3-4 exiled. But maybe the other stats are bad. I actually managed to find something with also chaos resist per endurance charge. That's why I bought it. It was like 7 exalt. But do not search for the same thing. Maybe search for it if that exists. Just buy it. But this is actually super hard to find. So you need to keep your chaos resist from your other items. Maybe even use a small cluster with chaos resist. They actually provide huge chaos resist. I am also using one of those. You can just use 2 instead. So you can actually get chaos resist easily from other pieces and cluster jewels, alright? So just get an endurance charge ring maybe for more endurance charge. Do also budget option is Kaom's Way ring, I believe. I will just also put picture, obviously. That also provides +1 endurance charges. So the higher the endurance charges, the tankier you are gonna be, and also you will have more DPS because we also use endurance charge on melee stun gem, which I swap with ancestral, melee splash, yeah, while mapping. But again, this build isn't good for mapping because you actually need like at least 100 stacks to hit good, let's say. Normally the DPS is like 0. You just hit, nothing happens. You just stack. After 100 stacks, you will actually notice that you are dealing damage. But if you just keep attacking, leap slam, attack, alright, you can just clear maps. It is fine. I even did a Chayula breach. I was like, I'm probably gonna fail this, but I actually managed to do that. So you can even prepare your own feared contract, you can do those kind of stuff even with this delay. You are gonna say this build doesn't deal any damage for like, let's say 30 seconds, but after that you just start destroying, and because the build is tank, you can just stand still and face tank while building those stacks. So actually let's say Maven invitation formed that actually took like 1.5 minutes. So most builds actually clear it with that time, just casual builds, let's say. Because this build is tank, you just don't move at all, because maybe on other builds you need to dodge, those kind of stuff. You just stand still, build those stacks, and just delete everything. You also watched Feared clip. You know what I'm talking about, alright? So you won't actually waste that much time on those contracts also, Maven invitations. Even it takes lots, like 30 seconds to build some decent stacks. So you get the idea, get endurance charges, already showed the amulet, the body armor, so I'll just also explain the rest of the gear later on. So in the end you need endurance charges, cap chaos resist. So why we need to cap our chaos resist, let's just also explain this. Doppelganger guys says less chaos damage taken. I was like, okay, I need to get benefit from this, alright, to be tankier. So if you are not familiar, there is a glorious vanity, timeless jewel, with Shibakua. Alright, you need to search for that. The numbers doesn't matter. You just need glorious vanity and Shibakua. Alright, just type that name with X, Xibaqua. Alright, just type that, buy something, it doesn't matter, because that Shibakua actually converts a keystone in the radius. This is a jewel, you obviously need to socket that into your talent tree. It just converts a nearby keystone to divine flesh keystone. All damage taken bypass energy shield. That doesn't important. That isn't important. All right, this for this build. 50% elemental damage taken. It doesn't say hit, so it works for all kind of damage, even damage over time. All right, elemental damage taken as chaos damage, and 5% max chaos resistance. So this means that I need to invest into chaos resist, maximum chaos resist, cap that, convert that elemental damage to chaos damage, and take less damage thanks to the body armor. You know, more mitigation on top of those. So to have maximum chaos resist, the things that you can do: Born of Chaos cluster jewels. This can be a small cluster, rare cluster. You can also put chaos resist on the suffixes, I believe. So a rare cluster in the end that provides huge chaos resist. 2 points, 3 points, whatever you need. These are not that expensive. They are like 1 exalt, maybe the good ones are 2 exalt. You know, a good cluster, alright? A couple of Born of Chaos maybe. And also Megalomaniac jewels. Again, Born of Chaos for chaos resist, and just put anything that the build needs. You know, life, resist, damage. This is a mace build, you know, scepter build. Maybe something that works for those scepters, those kind of stuff. You also need to use one Overlord for free fortify. I already use large clusters, you know. That's why I just put an Overlord in that. So in the end, Born of Chaos, make sure you have high chaos resist. So right now my chaos resist is 90%, that is the cap. So I actually mitigate a lot. I also have 79, 81, 78 elemental resistances. Not good, not bad. So I just also tried to invest into those. So how to increase your chaos resist even more? A shield. So let's check our shield right now. A shield that have life and max resistances. You don't need anything else. I was lucky and also searched for, you know, suppress spell. I found this for 1 exalt. It is ridiculous because no one uses these kind of defensive shields normally. Maybe if you can get suppress, that is also super nice. You can be even tankier. But normally you need maximum chaos resist, maybe maximum cold resist, fire resist, whatever. This actually provides +2 to all maximum resistances. That also works for chaos. So make sure you have 90% chaos resist in the end by using shield and also cluster jewels. And also maybe try to get even more maximum resist to other elements to become even tankier. But if you just kept your chaos resist, you know, 90%, alright, have the similar, you know, items, talent tree, whatever, you can actually face tank 90% of the content, let's say. You can even tank Veritania's, you know, that Sever Link tornado attack that normally one-shots 99% of the builds in the game. So yeah, there are some examples, obviously. Phoenix Supernova, maybe. Those kind of one-shot abilities. Cirrus Meteor, but I believe you cannot tank the last phases 3, you know, stages of that meteor. You can tank the phase 1, phase 2, but I believe phase 3 one-shots you. I'm not sure, I haven't tried that, but I was like, I actually get hit a lot on phase 2. But something to mention, I am actually not using, let me just check it again. Yeah, I don't use Molten Shell. Normally you also use that to tank those kind of stuff. So this is without Molten Shell actually, because the thing we are using is Immortal Call. I'm just gonna also explain that. So let me just finish the build guide, you know, the items. And after that, I will just also make sure I do some timestamps, obviously, and explain how to play this build, alright? The things you need to be careful about. So let's just finish the items. Already showed lots of them. So glows. I just wanted strike skill target additional nearby enemy so I can be, you know, more comfortable while clearing Simulacrum, maybe some Maven invitation bosses, I don't know. So you can actually put those on Searing Exarch, I believe, or maybe Eater of Worlds. Just check it. I always mix those up. So just check PoE database website. So you need to make sure that you have that on your implicit. So just buy glows with that actually, and then craft it with maybe Dexterity Essence or maybe Life Resist, whatever you need. As you can see, the gloves doesn't provide anything normally. Life, Resist, Dexterity, that's it. You also need Fire Exposure because this is a fire build. Fire damage to attack and spells per buff on you. So per trauma is actually per buff. So simply stupid. That is actually how to deal damage. So normally you don't deal much at all. If you just remove this jewel, you cannot deal damage probably. So this is how to stack damage actually. So this is a fire build. In the end, you need fire exposure. Also put that on that gloves. Alright, this is gloves. Already show boots, amulet, rings, belt, life, max life, regeneration, resistances. That is what I picked. These kind of hunter belts are obviously a little bit expensive, something like 10 exalt at most these days. You don't need the regeneration. That is something that I found. So I just tried to stack more life. That is why hunter bases are good. Also elder. If you skip that, the belt is like 1 exalt, 2 exalt maybe. If you also put life, it goes up to 10 exalt easily. That's it. Nothing else to explain. If you know anything else, maybe a synthesized belt or something, just go for that. But I don't know right now. Yeah. Helmet. Enchant, Boneshatter rest event, 4% chance to grant, +1. Trauma, just get a good base from someone else. I bought this for 25 chaos. No one plays Boneshatter on Royal Burgonet or whatever it is. So armor base is obviously good. Just get the enchant. After that, use pristine fossils maybe, or maybe chaos resist. Not pristine fossil. What is that? Greed essence. Yeah. But if you use pristine fossil, you can also get regeneration at the same time for more recovery. That is what I tried to do actually. I believe I used pristine and aberrant, the chaos fossil. The pictures are on the screen. So I used the both to get some life regeneration and chaos resist at the same time. You can skip maybe regeneration, use greed essence or chaos resist essence. There is also an essence for that. I will put the pictures on the screen. So just do some crafting, whatever you want, because the build needs chaos resist, life, those kind of stuff. For the implicits, I put attack damage with the Searing Exarch Echors or whatever they are, and Ether of Worlds. Damage taken, recoup as life. This works a little bit obviously. So for healing, more healing, recoup is actually heals you over 4 seconds, something like that, I believe. So yeah, more healing. I just picked these. If you know anything better, just go for that. Maybe this doesn't work that much. I don't know. Because you can actually, the main source of healing, let's say, is regeneration, but it is not actually enough. The usual regeneration, let's say. This is the reason we heal a lot. Unbreakable. 1.5% of physical damage prevented from hits in the past 10 seconds is regenerated as life per second. Because we hit ourselves with Boneshatter a lot of damage, let's say. Because each stack hits like 90 physical damage, I believe. If let's say I have 300 stacks, it is normally 2.7k, right? If I did the math right. Obviously you mitigate a lot of that, and that mitigated hits 1.5% is actually getting you actually get that as heal. All right, I hope you understand with my poor English. So this is how to heal yourself a lot. If you just watch a clip with high stacks, you will see that my life is like I lose it, bam, full, lose, bam, full. That is how that regeneration occurs. After some point, you actually have, thousands of regeneration, I believe. That is how that works. So unbreakable, plus that recoup on my helmet, maybe that also helps a little bit. That is what I ended up doing. Final item, weapon. So I first played this build as crit build. The DPS was similar, but I actually had a little bit lower health, those kind of stuff. We actually found a video on Reddit. Some guy actually tested a similar build at leak start, maybe. Put a Reddit clip. Maybe you saw that, I don't know. But one of my friends actually found that while searching the internet. So there is actually not, we haven't found any guide or anything. So I believe I am the first one who makes this guide. So if someone else actually played with the same body armor but different items, not going for that 90 chaos resistance kind of stuff, that guy used another defensive mechanics, alright? But that guy used elemental overload weapon. Because you cannot invest into much crit anyways, because we need to get other stuff on talent tree. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this. The DPS was the same. This is actually not that hard to craft also, and I ended up playing with this. If you know what you are doing, if you want to test it, you can also play with you can play a crit build. So you can also do that in the end, but I ended up using that guy's weapon, alright? So heads off to that guy. I believe I said that right, I don't know. So yeah, elemental overlord. This is an elemental build, obviously. So let's just check that. I'm trying to find that in my path of building right now. Skills that have dealt a crit strike in the past 8 seconds deal 40% more elemental damage with hits and ailments. So we need to hit crit every 8 seconds, let's say. After some points you will have lots of attack speed, so you crit all the time easily, even this is not a crit build. So you will have that elemental overload buff on you, so don't worry about that. But you cannot deal any extra crit damage, those kind of stuff, because this keystone prevents you. So just get this oscillating scepter or whatever is that. This is actually a heist base, I believe. So just get that scepter and use attack speed essence or crit essence, because if the weapon also has some crit strike chance, it is easier to score those crits. But in the end you don't have much crit, you know, maybe you can skip that, but you definitely need that attack speed. So essence of zeal, I just spammed it until I get that crit strike chance, because that is what I wanted. Later on I just used some annulments and multi-modded the rest. You don't want to invest into any accuracy, we don't have that luxury. That's why hits can't be evaded. That is actually super expensive. That is the most expensive craft on the crafting bench. 3 exiles. You have to put that, otherwise you need to cap your hit chance somehow. It is gonna be super hard, because you also need chaos resist on most of your items, so I don't recommend that. So make sure you invest into this, craft your own weapon. If you still have some open prefixes, those kind of stuff, I also put fire damage. You can also get fire damage, you know, as blood damage on the weapon while using those essences. That also works because it's a fire build. So the weapon in the end needs some good attack speed and hits can't be evaded. Those two are enough actually. The rest is just for additional DPS, those kind of stuff. So this summed all the items. I'm just gonna right now explain how to play this build, what buttons to press, those kind of stuff, you know, the rotation. So yeah. So in this part I'm gonna explain how to play this build, what kind of mistakes you shouldn't do, you know. If you do this you are just gonna die, those kind of stuff. I'm just gonna explain those so you actually understand how to play the build, you know, the things you need to be careful about. So first of all, how to play, you just, you know, leap slam to the boss or whatever, hold right click. Also press your blood rage, that is a buff that most melee builds use for attack speed. You need to maybe refresh that every now and then. And just hold click, you know, Boneshatter, have those stacks, and that's it. Right? No. You also need to press Enduring Cry. So Enduring Cry is a buff, a war cry that actually puts a buff on you. It says buff grants 2% additional physical damage reduction per endurance charge. So something stupid, I don't know, maybe I don't know that fully, let's say. Without even the Enduring Cry, you know, most builds actually shows 90% physical damage reduction in the path of building. That is obviously wrong. If you are like, my build has 90% physical damage reduction, I am immune, you know, that is wrong, alright, that is a big lie. I also sometimes say that, you know, my build has 50% physical damage reduction while explaining a build. Maybe that is also wrong, I don't know. Because if it says 90% physical damage reduction, because that is the cap obviously, it says you cannot, you know, if your path of building shows 90% physical damage reduction, you are gonna probably think, alright, I don't need to invest into more physical damage reduction because it is already capped, right? No, that is wrong. I'm just trying to explain that. Without Enduring Cry, you just die after 200 stacks, those kind of stuff. This is the reason you can actually get 600 stacks, you know, even push those stacks, let's say. Because it says buff grants 2% additional physical damage reduction. This for some reason stacks on top of that mitigation you see on your path of building. I don't know why, don't ask me. Maybe ask Mark GGG or someone else on Reddit. I don't know how this works, I don't understand, but you need to get more physical damage reduction from other sources, even though if your path of building says you have 90%, that is a big lie, alright? So Enduring Cry with increased duration and enhanced support to make the quality higher, because quality actually provides skill effect duration. Let me just also check that. No, I haven't got any. Yeah, because the skill effect duration is enough, and this is also a self-burst, you know, temporal chain build. Actually, and all the buffs actually stays longer on us, let's say. So if I press Enduring Cry, I will actually have a buff. Normally, let's say if that is a 10 seconds buff, I don't know, it is actually maybe 15 seconds right now, because we also have temporal chain on us. So you need to make sure that your Enduring Cry lasts enough so you can actually have the cooldown ready before the buff goes away. Because if you use your Enduring Cry buff after 200, 300 stacks, 400 stacks, let's say, you just kill yourself instantly. So you need to make sure that you press this all the time. Make sure it is on your keyboard or whatever. Just press this every, let's say, 8 seconds or whatever the cooldown is. Alright, I believe my cooldown is 8 seconds. I don't think I invested into any cooldown. I will also check that. Yeah, skill cooldown 8 seconds. That's it. You need to press this all the time. Make sure you have enough cooldown, those kind of stuff. You can even invest into some cooldown nodes, Warcry nodes on the talent tree. I haven't done that. Normally you don't need it. Because this is a self-curse temporal chain build plus increased duration on the Endurance Cry and enhance. So yeah, that is normally enough. Another way to mitigate damage. Cast when damage taken only level 1. Another increased duration. And also life tap, so you don't need to worry about mana. And Immortal Call. Divergent 1 actually provides even more mitigation per charge removed. So sometimes you will actually lose some of your endurance charges, but because this is a Juggernaut, you just generate them in a second maybe. That is how that happens. So every couple of seconds you actually get that cast when damage taken, bam, a couple of seconds more mitigation. But you will actually lose that for like, I don't know, 2 seconds maybe, because that is the cooldown on cast when damage taken, I guess. Not cast when damage taken, Immortal Call, where's that? Yeah, 3 seconds cooldown. So you actually have some downtime. But that actually helps a lot, you know. So even more mitigation. These are the gems. These are the stuff that we used. So make sure you press that Endurance Cry. That is super important because Immortal Call is already automated. Blood Rage. Rest of the gems, you know, Leap Slam, faster attacks. I don't know. Nothing much else to explain. Only level 1 Vitality because my Watcher's Eye actually provides life recovery rate. That actually boosts all kind of healing, so that is super important. Yeah, for the buffs, Determination, Arctic Armor. Determination is for armor, obviously. Arctic Armor provides less damage taken to physical and fire while standing still, you know, while stationary. That is what we are doing. And Divergent also provides even more. Again, you need to stack lots of other physical damage reductions from other sources. For some reason, they work. I don't know. Again, don't ask me. I don't know how that even works. Spirit of Elements for ailment immunity and easier to, you know, you can keep your resistances easier. One thing about your Watcher's Eye choice, a life recovery rate obviously helps, but maybe you don't even need that. I don't know. If it was cheap, I just bought it. You can actually get a Spirit of Elements Watcher's Eye that grants Chaos Resist. That is actually super nice for this build. So consider using another Watcher's Eye. These are all the gems, how to play the build, let's say, all the rotation, those kind of, so, you know, you need to press Endurance Cry, Boneshatter, that's it, nothing else. So I'm almost done. I'm just gonna mention the Forbidden Flesh and Flame combination that I'm using. You don't need this, but this obviously helps you to get more stacks. But for usual content, I believe you don't need this. Because the stacks that I showed at the start of the video, you know, 610 stacks, I believe. You cannot do that on normal bosses or those kind of stuff. Because I actually removed my gems, you know, to deal less damage. That is how I tested that stacks. That is the capacity of the character, but you don't see that normally. So yeah, maybe that's why you can skip this, Valakos Storm's Embrace. So maybe for more endurance charges, you know, more mitigation, regeneration, and also more damage, obviously. So this is obviously good, but if it is expensive, maybe try getting this later on. You don't need this to start playing the build. But if you just die after, let's say, 300 stacks, 400 stacks, maybe if you see those stacks a lot, then it means that it is time for you to invest into this jewel. Because this is a chieftain passive normally, you cannot get this. That is what I used. I believe this is it. I don't want to explain anything else. This was already a long guide because there was lot to explain, lot to cover up, you know. I hope people play this in next league as a low budget Simulacrum farmer maybe. I don't know. This seemed like a good opportunity to me because most items are super cheap. Maybe you need to invest into that weapon craft because hits can't be evaded is 3 exalt. Multimode, if you do that, also 2 exalt. So 5 exalt for that. So in the end, the budget should probably be around... I don't know, I'm just looking at the path of building. Maybe 30 exalt? I don't know. Without the forbidden jewels, there is actually nothing much to spend. Most pieces are under exalt. The belt was a little bit expensive because I invested into maximum life. So yeah, I will just say it is a 30 exalt, maybe a 40 exalt build to min max. Also the jewels, not jewels, the gems we are using, most of them are like, you know, cheap gems. You know, life depth, 20 level, melee splash. I don't even use divergent, I believe that is the correct one. I don't even use that, by the way. I'm just using a regular melee splash. Boneshatter divergent is normally cheap. Enhanced level 3 is not that expensive. Increased duration support, I don't know, elemental focus. I couldn't even use Awaken ele focus, by the way, because it needs more intelligence, and my character doesn't have that much intelligence. So you can also use Awaken ele focus, by the way, if you have higher intelligence. You know, just the regular gems, Enduring Cry, increased duration, I'm just checking again. Immortal Call only level 2, you just need to lock it, but you need a divergent one, it was like 30 chaos. So yeah, in that most gems are super cheap also, you don't use something like Awaken Multi-Strike or something. So probably 30-40 Exile to finish the build with the Forbidden Jewels if they are expensive. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to join my Discord. Again, you can support me on my Patreon if something happens, maybe if my computer is still broken, I don't know, it is fine for the last 2 days, but we will see. So consider supporting me on my Patreon, alright? I will see you later, bye bye.